A very good evening once again. Thank you for joining us for the second edition of UBC News Tonight with me, Moureen Babirye. Now, tonight in our first report, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament and President of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States Parliamentary Assembly, Thomas Tayebwa, has urged OCAP's member states to make trade, industrialization and value addition central to their development agenda. Tayebwa made the remarks while addressing the 121st OCAP's Council of Ministers at the Emort Palace in Brussels.
Deputy Speaker of Parliament and President of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States Parliamentary Assembly Thomas Tayebwa has urged the 79-member bloc to focus on practical economic issues that directly improve the livelihoods of citizens. Tayebwa says the organization's relevance would increasingly be judged by its ability to champion policies that create jobs, strengthen regional industries and enable member states to derive greater value from their natural resources.
Will depend on the continued support of member states. I therefore invite this council to reaffirm its commitment to a stronger parliamentary assembly, recording that it remains an integral pillar of the OECP's governance architecture and a partner in advancing the organization's transformation agenda. Last on the implementation of the Samoa Agreement, and I'll be visiting the Caribbean where the parliament requested me to go back again and engage. Members of parliament stand by ready to support this process of ratification. Where ratification is still pending, they can help to advance it by supporting the necessary parliamentary procedures, promoting greater understanding of the agreement and encouraging timely national action.
The matter has been long championed by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who has consistently argued that Africa cannot achieve meaningful prosperity while exporting raw materials and importing finished products.
That we shouldn't export our minerals as raw materials, but we should add value. Okay? Across the organization, member states of the organization. And we are continuing, Mr. President, as independent countries signing agreements with the EU, with the US on critical raw materials. We are not even addressing it from a regional perspective. They are booking raw materials from our side. They are not booking space for factories.
Tayebwa backed his argument with figures showing that Africa holds an estimated $29.5 trillion in mineral wealth, about 20% of the global total, but continues to lose substantial economic value because of its minerals leave the continent in raw processed form. Instead of refining or manufacturing higher value products locally, African countries export ores and concentrates, allowing other economies to capture the largest share of the value chain. According to Tayebwa, this model has left exporting employment opportunities and industrial growth alongside its natural resources. He observed that the continent processes only a small proportion of the minerals it produces, while countries that import those minerals generate far greater wealth through manufacturing.
And then we continue to go to those same countries to borrow. Yet what we are borrowing is gotten from what they've gotten from our side and merely added value. I remember my president gave us some feedback I think around 2023, when the coffee market was global market was worth around $465 billion.
Tayebwa also revisited one of President Museveni's long-standing examples of the coffee value chain to illustrate how commodity-producing countries receive only a fraction of the wealth generated from the products they produce. The example, he said, demonstrates why African countries must move beyond exporting raw commodities and instead invest in processing and manufacturing industries that retain value at home. Tayebwa warned the OSCP's Council of Ministers that unless the bloc redefines its priorities by focusing on issues that matter most to ordinary citizens, it risks losing its relevance.
Producers, you produce 465 billion worth of value and get only 25 billion US dollars. and we continue to read from the book of Lamentations for us who are Christians. There's also a book of Acts in the same Bible. So, you know, and we also ask ourselves, I ask my Secretary General, that why would the headquarters of the OACPS be in Brussels?
The OACPs brings together countries from Africa, the Caribbean and Pacific to promote cooperation on trade, sustainable development and political dialogue. Winnie Nalusiba reporting for UBC TV.
In other news, the Ministry of Education and Sports has suspended all school study tours with immediate effect as investigations of the circumstances surrounding the tragic road crash and reviews safety measures governing school trips are being scrutinized. Acting Minister for Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, made the announcement while visiting King David Junior School in Deje, Machindye Sabagabo, where parents had gathered following the accident that claimed the lives of 21 pupils and 5 teachers in Kapchorwa.
It was an emotional morning at King Fahad Junior School as anxious parents flocked to the school seeking information about their children who were involved in the fatal crash. Cries and wailing filled the school compound as families received confirmation that some of their children had died in the accident. The bus was carrying 107 passengers, including pupils and teachers.
Ate abantu bakangala kubanga bafudde abaana bafudde waleetwa omwana nga mulamu ssomero kasaawe ne bakubikira nti omwana afudde. What is that? Omwana okuza omwana, it is very expensive. Obulamu bw'omwana obw'omuntu buzibwako n'obakwata abaana babusiba.
Naye ate kati kukiriwo nzikiriza nti buli kimu ekijja wabaawo ensonga lwaki kizze era nkyebaliza Mukama okubanga alimu abo abataagenze wabula ekyokubeera nga teyagenze nze sinavaako wano.
Teachers, authorities said 21 pupils and 5 teachers lost their lives, while many others sustained serious injuries and were rushed to different hospitals for treatment. The atmosphere remained tense, with many people questioning why such a long-distance trip had been organized for the school pupils.
And proprietors of schools, please stop having long journeys for trips. We can consider Kampala, we can consider Entebbe, we can consider the museum. There's a lot of things to see and move around and explore. Let's cut the trips, the long journeys, because drivers can sometimes become reckless. They apply long routes, they want to go and do another route. If they have a private arrangement, they want to go and do the tax arrangement. So we use
2 big buses and 2 drones. One big bus was the one which was developed in an accident. The 3 remaining vehicles are dead. However, due to the shock, all the 4 drivers took off, disappeared, leaving our children.
Parents also questioned why the government did not deploy helicopters to airlift critically injured children to Mulago National Referral Hospital in the time for emergency treatment.
Abaana bafunidde akisidenti yiiri mu nsozi z'eri lwaki tetwala nnyonyi ne tuyambira abaana lwaki ezitwala e Kongo watali mugaso gwonna gwe tusobola kufunayo
Makindye Sabagabo Town Clerk Moses Etmong, Mayor Galabuzi Sozi and the President's representative Simon Peter Mawerere were among the first officials to arrive at the school.
As officer of the town clerk and Makindye Sabagabo, any school, primary, secondary, private government, no school shall be allowed to conduct external tour outside Makindye Sabagabo. without the due process has been concluded.
We have a tragedy that befell our municipality. We've lost over a number of kids. Here I'm not certain with the exact number, but rumors have it that over 20. We're still coalescing with the people in Kapchora to find out the exact number of people who have lost their lives. We are very sorry. We send sympathy and condolences to the bereaved families that have lost the young ones. The school, the director has also lost his life.
The leaders comforted grieving parents, assuring them that the government was doing everything possible to support the affected families.
School which had 8 students involved in the accident, we are reliably informed that between 19 and 23 are reported to have died, but we have not yet confirmed. But the good thing is that the government has taken over and have gone to the scene in Kapchora to see how best they can bring the dead bodies and those ones who survived. In the meantime, we thank the Ministry of Education because they have suspended all of the school tours all over the country. And particularly for this school, as parents are being screened, the school will be closed for 2 weeks, such that at least we get to know what next.
They also announced the temporary closure of the school and the suspension of school study tours. At around midday, Acting Minister for Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, arrived at the school, inspected the premises, and later addressed the parents.
Basi eyabadde n'abaana 107 bebafunye accident. Era accident yabayisizza bubi. Baana 21 bakakasiddwa nti baafudde. Abaana 21 emirambo gyabwe ne gitwalibwa mu ddwaliro e Kapchora. Ekyo mukitegeeza.
Minister Muyingo announced that the government had suspended all school study tours nationwide until investigations into the accident are completed and new safety guidelines are put in place. He extended condolences to the families and said the government was doing everything possible to ensure that survivors receive the best medical care.
Now, the Minister of Local Government, Balam Barugahara, has suspended school fees payment by learners in all government institutions. Balam had spent the entire Friday inspecting government-funded projects in Bale City.
The Friday visit of the Minister of Local Government, Balam Barugahara, to Bale City began with an engagement of local leaders before embarking on a field tour. The minister's first stop was in Mbale City Abattoir, where he assessed operations and service delivery. He later proceeded to Nkoma Senior Secondary School, where the inspection focused on concerns over school fees and infrastructure. At Nkoma, the school administrators raised concerns over a 2 billion shilling school structure that has remained redundant.
But the buildings were built by a bad contractor who cheated the government. And by so, I now ask the State House Anti-Corruption to investigate that contractor.
From Nkoma, Minister Balam headed to Mbale City High School as part of his continued assessment of public projects.
No more paying fees.
And what they have said at this assembly, we are going to implement.
On his way to Nakaloke Senior Secondary School, local residents intercepted the minister to have an abrupt assessment of the roadworks.
Now the challenge, why people are claiming that it is always flooding. If you don't remove Kasasiro And they mean you are collecting taxes. And you never allowed people to have access to their homes.
Residents called for urgent intervention in the construction, maintenance and drainage works.
You have cleaned the drainage channel for the first time today.
At Nakaroke Senior Secondary School, the minister's evening program included an inspection of the ongoing construction works at the school. However, similar to other school visits, during this tour, the issue of disguised school fees emerges all over the institutions.
I'm going to write just like he has advised me for the minister's approval, and I will get back, inshallah.
Meanwhile, the inspection of the alleged substandard works on Namabasa Doko Road in Mbale City has also sought for the minister's intervention.
Budget yewedde, financial yewedde, he said the money is there, they deposited in the petrol station and the material that they are going to upgrade this road. Now I can assure you, so this is a matter of interest.
The Friday assessment tour ended from Namatala Health Center 4 in Mbale City. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Industry proprietors in Namambe Industrial Park have called for fast completion of internal roads infrastructure inside the park to ease transportation. They made the remarks during the Presidential CEO Forum second information tour in Namambe today.
The Presidential CEO Forum has conducted its second industrial information tour, with this edition taking place at Namambe Industrial Park, following a similar engagement earlier held in Namunkekera. The high-level multi-sector visit brought together key government officials, including Trade Minister Sanjay Tana, State Minister for Trade David Bahati, officials from the Uganda Revenue Authority, the Uganda Investment Authority, Uganda Industrial Research Institute, among others.
So we would want you, through your businesses, to help us develop skills, and the President is already putting the infrastructure in place. We already have almost 20 skilling hubs. But if you allowed us to do it from here, work with you so that our people learn.
This second information tour have said, let's go to Namambe. We are working closely with Uganda Investment Authority. Today we visited mostly the local investors. That was Luka Plastics, Ntake Industries, and then we were able to also to go to Steel and Tube. And as media, you were able to see for yourself things that you cannot believe. When you see what Luka Industries is doing, producing the packaging of almost every product that we find on the different shelves in Kampala, that is amazing, and it's good for Ugandans to know.
When we increase manufacturing, we increase jobs and we increase revenue for the country. So I'm very happy that we can now visit and tour the place, see the progress on how we are doing the infrastructure.
This Presidential CEO Forum second information tour of Namambe Industrial Park sought to understand the status of the industries in this park, assess the progress and the challenges they are currently facing.
The main reason why we are here is to have this conversation. As we visit, for example, today Ntake Edible Oil Company, we want to understand how are they performing.
Among the facilities visited were Luka Plastics, Steel and Tube Industries, Storage Machinery, which manufactures agricultural machinery, including plowing tractors, inverters, milling machines, as well as Ntake Bakery, which manufactures cooking oil, soap and bread, and Uganda Industrial Research Institute, among others.
Allow me to thank God and His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and General Muhoozi for the peace we have in Uganda. What you see here is staunch machinery. This is the first factory in Uganda and East Africa to manufacture power generator, construction equipment and agriculture equipment. We have been buying this item from Lebanon but now and supplying to East Africa, but now we are manufacturing in Uganda, supplying East Africa and West Africa.
And so for us, it's really being able to plug into the vision of this country, that is industrialization, that is building the national development agenda, but also being able to help them to speak to the how. How are we in position to complement each other and be able to achieve that goal?
Your legacy should not be steel and tube. Your legacy should be how many Ugandans you have trained in steel and tube.
There is no reason why we should be totally dependent on foreign products and foreign technologies. And so this institution is trying to have an impact on that, to reverse that trend.
Nama, the industrial park, currently hosts more than 400 companies, with about 80% already operational. A key highlight of the visit was the growing participation of local investors, with about 60% of companies operating in Nama, the industrial park, being locally owned.
When you reach, where I reach Congo, where I say that our president did very well by going into Congo and making some roads there, he opened the market for us. We are selling our products now in Congo. You have seen the trucks of Tanzania, they are loading.
In Turkey, we're employing over 1,500 to 2,000 people through all our branches and all our industries combined.
However, investors raised concerns over challenges affecting operations, including poor internal road infrastructure, unreliable electricity supply, and delays in obtaining approvals. They called for urgent government intervention to address these constraints.
We really ask the government to work on the roads. The electricity is not also good.
Stakeholders say addressing these challenges will be critical in strengthening Uganda's manufacturing sector and positioning industrial parks as engines of economic transformation. Crispus Arinitwe reporting for UBC.
The acting ambassador of the Nigerian High Commission in Uganda, Her Excellency Misitura Abdurrahim, has deployed 25 Nigerian teachers to the Islamic University in Uganda and Kabale University under the Technical Aid Corps scheme. The two-year deployment is intended to strengthen academic capacity, promote knowledge transfer, and deepen bilateral relations between Nigeria and Uganda.
The deployment ceremony was presided over by Her Excellency Mr. Abraham, who described the initiative as a reflection of Nigeria's commitment to supporting human capital development and technical cooperation across Africa. The acting ambassador said the Technical Aid Corps scheme has benefited education institutions for more than 2 decades, contributing to academic excellence while strengthening ties between Nigeria and Uganda.
Nigeria's foreign policy indigenous initiative, which has been impacting to the socio-economic development of recipient African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP countries, including Uganda since 1987. 6. Collaboration with reputable institutions such as the hospitals, the engineering sectors and other several entities by deploying highly skilled NTAC volunteers.
The 25 volunteers assigned to the Islamic University in Uganda and Kabale University were urged to uphold professionalism, demonstrate integrity, and contribute to institutional development throughout their 2-year deployment.
I urge you today to be very explanatory ambassadors, exemplary ambassadors to Nigeria by carrying out your responsibilities as professionals. We gave them the best. You are our best.
The exceptional leadership of Right Honorable Dr. Yusuf Buba Yakub in keeping up this progressive and inclusive development of skilled manpowers to ACP countries can never be underscored. And for you to know the quality of volunteers we are always giving the ACP countries. This process is done through rigorous selection process of these volunteers, who are carefully selected based on the request.
Officials from the beneficial university expressed gratitude to the government of Nigeria and Nigeria High Commission in Uganda for the academic support. They also commended the collaboration with Uganda, saying the partnership will continue to strengthen education, capacity building and regional cooperation.
UIU has received 17 professors, senior lecturers and associate professors in the disciplines of engineering, education, economics, law, and other areas. And IUIU is very much pleased.
We are delighted to welcome our new staff volunteers as they begin a 2-year journey of service to Kabale University by choosing to share your knowledge and expertise with us.
The Technical Aid Corps scheme, established by the federal government of Nigeria in 1987, deploys skilled Nigerian professions to African, Caribbean and Pacific countries upon request to promote technical cooperation, strengthen diplomatic relations and support sustainable development. Winnie Nalsiba reporting for UBC.
In eastern Uganda, Minister of State of Local Government Justin Namere has officially launched the construction of community access roads under the Rural Development and Food Security in the Acholi region. During the launch, Namere warned contractors against delivering shoddy works, saying the government will not tolerate delays, substandard work and corruption.
Communities in Acholi sub-region are set to benefit from improved access roads following the launch of construction works under Rural Development and Food Security Program.
And KFW for their continued strategic partnership with the Ministry of Local Governments and the Government of Uganda in general. Together we are building a foundation for sustainable economic growth in northern Uganda.
Speaking at the launch, the Minister of State of Local Government, Justin Namere, tasked contractors to use quality materials and deliver value of money.
So my message that is beyond strong goes to the contractors. Please don't bring your games to local government. I know it has been a hub for anybody who wants to play around, anybody who wants to cheat syndicates. It's not going to happen. The Minister, Honorable Balam, is not going to accept it. The Minister of State is not going to accept it. There will be no extensions of time. There will be no extra pays. There will be no delays tolerated. In case you fail to do the right thing, if you do shoddy work, if you play around, if you think you're going to manipulate records and connive and have appraisals that are not it, forged certificates, it's not going to happen. If you play around with this work, with the pain that the people have about these roads, regarding these roads, if any contractor plays with this work, your company shall be blacklisted. You will never do any work with government of Uganda or government of any government in East Africa or any government in Africa.
The launch was attended by local and technical leaders from several districts, officials from the Ministry of Local Government and Development partners.
But this road was supposed to be implemented in 2022. The budget of that road needs 1.2 billion. The amount of money per the district does not have. And I applaud the President and the NM government for making friendship with Germany.
The delay has caused understandable anxiety. However, this launch has restored confidence that the project is moving from the plans to visible works.
Relatedly, construction works on the rehabilitation and widening of the 145-kilometer Busunju-Chiboga-Hoima highway are progressing steadily despite earlier challenges that affected the project timeline. The contract manager, Engineer Irene Kawazira, has assured the public that the project is on track for completion by February of 2027.
Construction works to rehabilitate and widen the 145-kilometer Busunju-Chiboga-Hoima highway are progressing well, with completion expected by February 2027. The road, which will serve as a key transport link ahead of the forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations tournament and improve connectivity between the rest of the country and the Albertine region, is being upgraded under a major government infrastructure project. The contract manager of the project and principal engineer at the Ministry of Works and Transport, Engineer Irene Kawazira, says the contractor Abeka Technical Services had earlier faced challenges including rising fuel prices and delays in the supply of construction materials such as bitumen from countries affected by the war. However, she says works have since picked up and are progressing steadily.
The contractor is working to make sure that we meet the targets that were set for us. So far we have 42 kilometers of asphalt concrete, that is the black top. And we have another 15 kilometers that are ready to receive the black top.
Engineer Kabazira made the remarks during a familiarization tour of the project site by the State Minister for Works, Siraja Musa Ali, accompanied by officials from the Ministry of Works and Transport, the contractor, and other stakeholders.
Here we have over 10 kilometers that are ready to also receive asphalt, but the challenge the contractor is reporting is bitumen. So the Honorable Minister needs to understand which plan do you have for bitumen and when are you expecting?
For different suppliers. So the 500 already in Mombasa, inshallah, by end of this month, will be in Mombasa. The rest, by end of July. So the rest, they are going to be following.
She further revealed that the project is currently at 35% completion, with 42 kilometers already tarmacked. She added that by the end of August, an additional stretch will be completed, bringing the total to 55 kilometers of finished road works.
Made an effort to make sure that he gets bitumen, and it will arrive by the end of this month. So by the end of August, even the 15 kilometers will be tarmacked. So in total, we will have around 55 kilometers.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Resident District Commissioner for Kivoga, Newton Muanguzi, commended government for promoting the participation of local contractors in major national projects. He also praised Abubakar Technical Services for the quality of work being delivered on a road he described as vital to the country's economic and social development.
And for us as a district, we are so comfortable with what they are doing. We have been supervising them, we have been interacting with them, we have been with them, and we are sure the work they are doing is quality work.
The printing of new digital number plates is underway at the Intelligent Monitoring System Production Center in Chambogo. The increased production is aimed at clearing a backlog of more than 6,000 digital number plates. This follows a directive by the Minister of Works and Transport, Honorable Fred Biamukama, to restore no more services. According to the Director of Production and Installation, Novoselov Nikita, the ITMS expects to clear the backlog within 2 weeks, now that the electronic components needed to complete the digital number plates have been received.
Of about 6,000 number plates, but the ITMS has imported some of the devices that were missing, and the printing of new number plates is taking place day and night.
So this one we are going to clear within I think 2 weeks till the end of the month, with continuously installing the total consumption. So but the full solution will be also done in August, and not so because of this continuously process we shall do in July and also in August. But for all the number plates which are ready for install, we shall serve. The challenge was only logistic. Because of war at Middle East, we streamlined our supplies through Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, Ethiopian Airlines. However, all the other companies in Africa also streamlined through Ethiopia. That is why at Ethiopia airport, backlog of more than 200 tons appears. So that is why the deliveries come in delays. Meanwhile, also the border points, Malaba and Mutukula. Malaba, it is a border point with the Kenya. Mutukula, it is a border point with Tanzania. Meanwhile, all the traffic that came through there were no scarcity, and all was installed in time. So
still on transportation, stakeholders in the transport sector have called for the introduction of mandatory certification and continuous professional training for passenger and commercial drivers to improve road safety and curb the rising number of fatal road crashes across the country. The call was made by the Road Safety Advocacy Coalition Uganda, which says a driving permit alone is no longer sufficient to guarantee professionalism and safe public transport.
The Road Safety Advocacy Coalition Uganda, ROSACO, is proposing mandatory post-licensing training and periodic certification, especially for drivers transporting school-going children and other passengers. The proposal is informed by the increasing number of road crashes involving school children and passenger service vehicles.
Professionalization of passenger transport. Our first priority in the professionalization of passenger transport, with particular emphasis on continuous professional development CPD for drivers. Commercial drivers carry people's lives in their hands every day. A driving permit remains essential, but safer passenger transport also requires practical competencies, discipline, medical fitness, continuous learning, and professional responsibility.
The coalition believes that possessing a driving license alone does not demonstrate the professionalism and the competency required to safely transport passengers.
UPDN therefore advocates for a national system of post-licensing professional driver development, where commercial drivers receive regular competence-based training.
Rosaku says refresher training should focus on defensive driving, speed management, and passenger safety to match the changing road environment.
The training should be practical and competence-based. It should help drivers refresh their knowledge, correct unsafe habits, and respond to changing road conditions, vehicle technology, and traffic rules.
The coalition also recommends that vehicles transporting school-going children should undergo specialized licensing and certification to ensure roadworthiness.
They require fair working conditions, reasonable schedules. Drivers cannot be machines, and that is why people take leave and have to rest for recommended hours if you're a professional or practitioner.
Transport sector stakeholders are further calling on government to increase funding for road safety interventions and establish a multi-sectoral coordination mechanism to strengthen road safety management across the country.
And therefore, this again is a call that there is need for more attention, there is need for more enforcement, there is need for us to ensure to inject more resources so that the police, so that the enforcement agencies are able to, have the logistic support, they have all the necessary that is necessary for them to ensure that our roads are safe.
In just 10 days, traffic police have registered at least 4 fatal road crashes involving school-going children, claiming about 40 lives. Stakeholders say implementing these recommendations will strengthen speed management, professionalize passenger transport, and ultimately reduce road crash fatalities. Abdunasiri Luwama and Regana Humza for UB.
Now, the Minister of Land, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nawakova, has cited that government is stepping up efforts to curb land grabbing and strengthen land governance across the country. She says the ministry is reviewing and strengthening policies and laws, including the Physical Planning Bill and the Real Estate Bill, which are expected to be tabled before Parliament, aimed at promoting proper land use, protect property rights, and ensure land benefits all Ugandans. The minister made the remarks while addressing members of Parliament during an orientation on land governance.
The Uganda Parliamentarians Land Management Forum, UPLMF, in partnership with civil society organizations, among them Oxfam, Pelham Uganda, and CODAID, held an orientation for members of Parliament, particularly those serving on the Parliamentary Land Committee, to enhance their understanding of land governance and management.
That land is a very important subject, and that's why we are gathered here. So the million-dollar question before us should be, are we now having good land governance?
Land is really very key, and I think, yes, we can debate, we can talk, but we must take actions.
Participants noted that Uganda continues to face numerous land-related challenges, including land grabbing, illegal evictions, and violations of land rights.
And in most cases, it is the powerful, those that have the resources, that are violating or taking advantage of the land rights of the powerless. We have the National Land Policy that is under review and revision, and I know you're going to look into this and see that this document is passed.
At the opening of the orientation training, the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakoba, said government is implementing several interventions to address land disputes, including the establishment of ministerial zonal offices across the country to improve land administration and service delivery.
It's the land policy because I'm yet to take it to cabinet. We had an old one 2013. We feel it's time to review and get a new land policy that can capture the emerging issues.
Through your legislation, oversight, representation, budgetary allocation mandates, Parliament is central to ensuring equitable, transparent, efficient, and responsive land governance in Uganda.
Nabakoba, however, expressed concern over the low rate of land registration, saying only about 30% of land in Uganda is registered.
People know we are born, we've been staying here, but when you ask for documents, no documents. And that has exposed them to grabbing and funny people. Previously, we were at 18%, that is in 2013. While this is significant progress, much more remains to be done to expand coverage and ensure that more Ugandans enjoy secure, documented land rights.
The Speaker of Parliament, represented by Parliamentary Commissioner Jessica Babiko, called on the judiciary to expedite the hearing and disposal of land cases, saying the growing backlog continues to delay justice and hinder development.
42% of the cases at the different levels of the courts are on land. If leaders, we don't intervene, we shall find out at the end the majority poor will lose their land. Because there is competition for wealth, there is competition to survive, and it is only us that can stand for them.
Other participants emphasized that strong collaborations among government institutions, Parliament, civil society and communities is essential for the effective implementation of land policies and laws, for tackling persistent land-related injustices. Rebecca Nantongo, Dan Lugemwa, for UBC News.
In northern Uganda, farmers are counting heavy losses after a prolonged drought destroyed maize, sorghum and soybean crops. Many say they planted after early April rains, expecting a normal season, but the rain stopped, leaving crops to dry before maturity.
From the above, the maize farm in Namuru district looks healthy, but on ground, the damage is clear. Most of the crop has withered, while many combs never fully developed.
The maize got burnt very badly with a terrible sunshine that came.
Farmer Pascal Osile says he expected to earn 250 shillings from the harvest, but the drought has wiped out much of his investment.
I've invested about 47 million. But I want to tell you what we are going to get, I don't even think, I doubt that we can get 10 million in this.
Charity Lamunu is facing the same challenge. She expected about 40 bags of soybeans, but now hopes to harvest not more than 10.
The soya we have right now has yielded very well, as you can see. But the problem is the seeds. The seeds are not of the quality we expected. They are not as big as we expected. They are small.
Osile blames the meteorology department, saying farmers relied on its weather forecasts before planting. He wants government to investigate what he calls misleading weather predictions.
As farmers, large-scale farmers, we usually depend on the advice from a government. This is what they call the meteorology. I don't know whether it is full of incompetent people, or since the president said that this term is going to be a term of Hakuna Kulala, maybe it is worth it to be this.
Drought is also affecting communities in West Nile. In Arua City, residents say low water levels of River Enyao have disrupted water supply for weeks.
Particularly impacted on the city in the sense that over the last 2 weeks or so we've experienced water shortage.
The West Nile Development Association warns that continued dry conditions could trigger food shortages. Its executive director, Moses Akuma Odims, is calling for greater investment in irrigation and tree planting to help farmers cope with the changing weather patterns.
To government to continue supporting the region with the drought resistance crops, and of course to continue supporting the region to have water for production and mini irrigation schemes, and to lower the cost of affording these services for the farmers.
The Meteorology Department has been allocated 9 billion shillings in the 2026-2027 national budget. Masi Nwasasira for UBC News.
Thank you, Mercy, for that report. In more news, in a major bid to rescue the collapsing education standards in Lamour district, the Member of Parliament for Lamour County, who also chairs Manduli's Energy, is donating solar systems and television sets to 13 remote schools. This intervention follows dismal results in the 2025 primary leaving examinations, where a staggering 2,801 candidates sat for the exams, but only 28 passed, and Division 1 ranking the district among the worst performers nationwide.
For the last 4 years, schools like Konchok Primary School in Madope Sub-County have barely registered a single second-grade pass. This chronic underperformance has cast a dark shadow over Lamour education profile.
We have our good learners who always come to school, and sometimes even some of them absent themselves, and when we ask them from home also, there is some heavy work. They go to the garden, they help their parents, so it makes some of them to come to school rarely.
The learning environment here remains hostile. While pupils in urban area sit comfortably at desk, candidates at Loronya Primary School sit on a bare floor to write their national examinations.
How do you expect them to pass exam? No textbook. We just buy all these textbooks.
Disturbed by these glaring gaps, Area Member of Parliament and Manduli Energy Chairman Johnson Kezekia Nyero has launched a solar and TV electrification drives to bridge the digital divides.
The performance of Lamour has been appalling. It has been 28 first graders in the whole of Lamour, and that should have been from one school only. But that 28 is from 13 sub-counties, and I'm ashamed of this. So I want to do all I can and try to change this trend. And that's why we are bringing all these things.
Manduli's energy engineer, Maurice Komakej, demonstrate to the eager learner how the new setup will transform their classroom by introducing modern e-learning tools.
So in a battery, my charging is solar enemy. Charging.
Honorable Nyero is now calling on government to design a specialized affirmative action programs targeting public schools in hard-to-reach frontiers.
We have brought some TV sets with the children's program aimed at improving their knowledge, giving them more knowledge so that we change their performance when it comes to exam. We have done the same in Nwea, in Godnwe especially, and indeed it has changed their results. So I've sampled 13 schools. So we have some expanded program dealing with the internet, computer, so that they can have access to Google, and they can have access to international children's programs.
As top-tier schools across Uganda compete for academic glory, remote institutions in Lamour are still fighting a baseline battle, simply securing the basic infrastructures needed to give their children a fighting chance. Stephen Okello for UBC TV, Lamour.
that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mumutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, enendungu yakusabula. Mikono tu, free your fire, free your fire, free your fire.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. What we need is the power to do it our way. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. This is Africa, powered by us.
MTN voice bundle. Yeah. Load. Hey. Hello, Mama. Hey, it is me, your son, Opio. Hey, now, Mama, listen to me. MTN has the offer. Yes, it has the offer. You load from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now, they have free MTN to MTN minutes. And those minutes are there all day. So you load, you'll thank me later. Hey, Mama.
Load an MTN voice bundle between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and get 3 free MTN to MTN minutes valid all day. Dial *100 *21# and get your free minutes bully daily. Free your fire with free minutes from MTN. Together, our connection is unstoppable. MTN.
They share an office. Some work in the day, some at night. What they have in common: focus, dedication. That's what makes them champions. They also share something else: the reward of being one. The official beer of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Not for persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
And now in business news, Makerere University has hosted the launch and dissemination of 5 policy briefs on Uganda's natural capital accounts, an initiative aimed at strengthening climate-informed economic policy making. The event, organized by the Center of Excellence for Africa Climate-Sensitive Macroeconomic Modeling at Makerere University's College of Business and Management Sciences, held under the theme Advancing Climate-Informed Economic Policy for Sustainable Development in Africa, brought together policymakers, development partners, academia, and environmental experts to discuss the role of natural resources in shaping economic decisions.
The policy briefs were unveiled during a ceremony organized by the Center of Excellency for Africa Climate-Sensitive Macroeconomic Modeling, based at Makerere University's College of Business and Management Sciences. The event was officiated by the guest of honor, Honorable Beatrice Anywar, who emphasized the importance of incorporating natural capital accounting into national planning to promote sustainable development and strengthen climate resilience.
The policy briefs show how decisions in water, forestry, land, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and urbanization affect our natural assets. Development and conservation do not have to be in conflict.
Representing the Global Green Growth Institute, Country Representative Arthur Sebuga, Manager for Climate Finance, reaffirmed the Institute's commitment to supporting Uganda's transition towards climate-informed economic policies.
Let me congratulate all researchers, authors, and institutions involved in producing these excellent policy briefs. I encourage all of us to see today's event as not only the continuation of the research process, but as the beginning of stronger policy dialogue and evidence-based decision-making.
Director of the Center of Excellency for Africa Climate Sensitive Macroeconomic Modeling, Professor Edward Bale, said the policy briefs provide evidence-based recommendations to help policymakers recognize the economic value of Uganda's forests, wetlands, water resources and other natural assets in development planning.
The Center of Excellence for Africa Climate Sensitive Macroeconomic Modeling was born out of the contemporary debates around the globe, where it's very, very important that national planning, budgeting, macroeconomic and fiscal policies are not oblivious to the aspect of climate change.
We confirm our commitment to support government development initiatives through research. Our appreciation goes to all the participating ministries, departments and agencies, members of the technical working group, researchers, technical experts and all stakeholders whose dedication has made the preparation of these policy briefs and updated natural capital accounts possible.
The initiative is expected to strengthen climate-responsive policy making while supporting Uganda's pursuit of sustainable and inclusive economic growth.
We continue to offer our partnership in relation to your efforts to enhance your natural capital accounts that are greatly needed for mainstreaming climate considerations into economic policies, helping to build a future that is not only sustainable but also economically vibrant for all.
Sandra Kahunde, Robert Katemba, News Tonight.
We take you to Hoima City, where the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority has officially opened regional offices in the city, intended to strengthen procurement oversight and improve service delivery in the region. The new office is expected to bridge procurement's gap, bring services closer to stakeholders, and enhance the monitoring of government projects.
The opening of a regional office for the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority (PPDA) in Hoima City is expected to strengthen procurement oversight across the Midwestern region. The office, located along Sachula Road in Kijungu, Hoima City, will serve 20 districts, 3 municipalities, 2 cities, 2 regional referral institutions, schools, and other government entities. It is expected to support the implementation of public projects by improving compliance, enhancing monitoring, and ensuring value for public resources.
We have a strategic plan that is running currently, and the board approved additional 4 regional offices, and this is the first one.
Speaking during a stakeholders engagement at the new regional offices, PPDA Executive Director Canon Benson Turamye said the establishment of the office demonstrates the authority's commitment to taking procurement services closer to communities.
It represents a strategic shift in the way PP delivers its regulatory mandate, moving closer to the institutions, practitioners, and the communities that we serve.
Canon Turamye cautioned the accounting officers and contractors against non-performing contracts.
I know what was in Masindi. These roads were not tarmac. Now, when you see these oil roads, you see the infrastructure that is coming, you see the stadium, you see the airport, the industrial park. No Ugandan, no mindful thinking person would fail to get interested in this region.
In a message delivered on behalf of the PPDA board chairman Julius Ishungisa, Engineer George Bwanga described the Hoima office as a strategic milestone in strengthening procurement regulation.
If everything is based in Kampala, it will be very difficult for a person to put down their complaint in a timely manner. However, with the establishment of the regional office, it's very easy for a person to walk without taking a boda or without taking a car to go and report an issue that is coming up.
Hoima City Mayor Pastor Edward Isingoma welcomed the development and called on PPDA to prioritize continuous capacity building.
Once you are in office, you are assumed to know the PPDA procedures. And therefore, this office is going to help all stakeholders have continued training to be introduced to PPDA processes. And I'm praying that you organize trainings for mayors, district chairpersons, councillors.
The establishment of the regional office comes amid concerns over procurement challenges that have affected the implementation of public projects in the Midwestern region.
I'll give a case. Hoima Regional Referral Hospital, for the last about 2 years, is operating without a substantive procurement and procurement officer, but has been getting services of the procurement officer from Fort Portal Regional Referral Hospital. Also had a mismatch between procurement and disposal, and yet by law, procurement and disposal are supposed to go hand in hand.
The PPDA team later inspected the Hoima City Stadium following repeated workers' sit-down strikes. After the inspection, the delegation met with the stadium management and workers, where both sides agreed on measures to address workers' welfare concerns and restore harmony to allow construction works to continue smoothly.
We have recommended also, we recommend appropriate disciplinary actions, and we leave it at that. Because most times these public servants are governed also by public service, standing orders. And you will hear maybe the accounting officer or the supervisor saying, show cause why disciplinary action cannot be taken against him. And in most cases, the contract supervisor also put the defense.
The Hoima Regional Office is expected to be officially commissioned in the coming weeks. Amwai Vanjuko, reporting for UBC.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. We never have. What we need is the power to do it our way. To move our people, our goods, our ideas across cities that breathe with our energy. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. Every swap keeps the city running. Every ride links one life to another. We're copying no one else's future. It's we who powers the cities we live in. It's we who shapes the world they'll become. This is Africa, powered by us.
And now in sports, Uganda's first female international gold medalist, Dorcas Nzikuru, is appealing to the government to fulfill the pledges made to her in recognition of her sporting achievements. Among the outstanding promises are the construction of the proposed Dorcas Nzikuru Stadium at Barifa Playground in Arua City and the provision of a vehicle in addition to the house that was previously delivered.
More than 3 decades after John Akibwa made history by winning Uganda's first Olympic gold medal in the 400 meters on September 2nd, 1972, Dorcas Nzikuru revived the country's golden athletics legacy. Nzikuru won Uganda's first world championship gold medal in the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase at the 2005 World Athletics Championship in Helsinki, Finland. She followed with another historic victory by winning Commonwealth Games gold in the same event in Melbourne, Australia in 2006. Following her achievements, the government made several pledges to honor the athletics icon. 21 years after winning the world title, UBC TV sat down with Dorcas Nzikuru in an exclusive interview. The former champion says while the government fulfilled part of its promises, key pledges remain outstanding, including the construction of a stadium in her honor. This is Barifa Playground, located in the heart of Barifa Forest in Arua City. It is here that Dorcas Njikuru nurtured her athletics career while studying at Imvara Secondary School. According to Njikuru, this is the site where the proposed Njikuru Stadium was expected to be built to help develop sports in the West Nile sub-region.
The Njikuru Stadium has not been constructed in West Nile, but the stadium land is already there. If all goes well for the next financial year, I want to encourage all my people in West Nile, please, and also Ugandans, and also His Excellency to remind him, Njikuru Stadium has to be constructed. The same like way in Akibwa Stadium in Lira, which is now underway for construction. Hoima Stadium, which has just been constructed. I want to thank General CDF MK for the support he has given for construction.
Arua City Mayor Lawrence Alionji says Njikuru deserves lasting national recognition through the establishment of a stadium bearing her name within the city.
Beyond the economic sense the stadium would make, the stadium would honor Dorcas Njikuru. When we grew up, if you were a girl and you were a runner, you'd be nicknamed Dorcas Njikuru. So Dorcas Njikuru became a household name. But for every young girl, she carried the dream that sports or athletics could earn you a future and a national name. So for us, the name of Dorcas Njikuru is a sense of pride. And look, to have a stadium in her name will be a true honor and one that is truly deserved.
Njikuru also revealed that although the government built a house for her, another pledge to provide her with a vehicle has never been fulfilled.
Personal pledges now is remaining the car. The house you have already received. Kipsiro has received both of them. Kiprotich has not received all of them. He received the car, but not yet a house. Joshua, also the same. Boniface Kiprop has not received all the pledges. He got injured, but he's there in the book. Now I'm here on behalf of them to also remind His Excellency to at least remember all these veteran athletes who have put Uganda on the world map.
Arua City Sports Officer Ronald Chandia says the city still lacks a standard football stadium capable of hosting international matches, highlighting the urgent need for investment in sports infrastructure.
Recently, when primary schools were there in Tororo for national kids athletics, the best under 14 category boy child came from Arua City. We have these talents. Now that AFCON is now going to be here in Uganda, which means the entire region, West Nile, will just be viewing this thing from the TV.
As Uganda prepares to co-host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, leaders across the country are increasingly calling for the construction of sub-regional stadiums to support talent development and attract future international sporting events. Earlier this week, Nansana Municipality Member of Parliament Bulasio Mukasa urged the government to prioritize the development of regional sports infrastructure, saying it would not only nurture talent but also boost tourism and the country's economy. Joseph Odama, UBC News.
And that brings us to an end of tonight's bulletin, this 17th of July 2026. Thank you for watching. I'm Moureen Babirye. Good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.